Hello, and thanks for joining us for today's episode of Constructive Conversations, the podcast where we aim to bridge the gap in communications between contractors and customers. Today on the show, we have Mike Payne, owner of No Payne Roofing, the largest roofing company in Calgary. He shares a lot of his wisdom about how to pick the right roofer, what you should look for in your roofing company, the future of solar shingles, how to make sure your solar panel installations go right, and a lot more. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today. Tell us about you. Tell us about your business and how it started.
How it started. Well, my name is Mike Payne. I'm the owner of No Payne Roofing, and thanks for having me there, Nick. I just how we started was, I wasn't afraid of heights. I found that out because I was just like a little hellion, you know, climbing up roofs for no reason. So I guess it was in my blood. Small town, just bored. So I had to, test out the heights thing. And then I went out first off, I was the youngest entrepreneur, I think, in Alberta. I started a business at 14 years old, just doing the basic thing, kind of typical, just going cutting grass, and kind of turned into like a snow removal, lawn maintenance kind of thing. I was in a small town of Vulcan, and I was doing like 150 lawns a week towards the end of it. So it's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
But being 14 years old, I didn't realize what I had, and but by the end of it, I think I was like 19 or 20 or something like that. I got kind of complacent, and actually I was having an issue with a condo association, and I decided to bring my dad in to kind of help me out. These are two older guys or whatever. They were like gonna, kind of grilling me about some things. I brought my dad in, and then he's pretty rude, and they canceled the contract. And so then I went into seismic. I went into, all kinds of things, road building, the rigs. I was working at the bottom of way down in Jameson when they were building that big skyscraper. I was grinding walls. Pretty big change from being your own boss, and then, but anyway, I got laid off from the oil fields towards the end. And my buddy was talking about this guy that had a roofing job. So I said, my buddy was not a good worker. Not a hard worker at all. He got fired from this guy multiple times. So I just kind of went around him and gave this guy Bill a call. He got me on the roof, $15 an hour. And yeah, I started roofing away, and one thing led to another. I kind of, have my business experience. I think I started working as a subcontractor. Those companies didn't really treat me very well. So, and on top of that, I was trying to be like business partners with them, because I've like businesses in my blood. They wouldn't take any of my advice. So I was like, okay, well, obviously I got to run my own business. And so I started that. And so first I started roofing in 2009. And then I started as a subcontractor all the way to 2018. And then I started No Payne Roofing up as a brand. And here I am today.
Awesome. Nice. And what stage is your company at? Like how big are you? What do you guys focus on? Residential, commercial?
We do more residential than we do commercial. So we do both, really. We do the flat roofs and sloped roofs. A lot of people don't know that we do flat roofs. I don't really advertise it that much, but yeah, what I'm really focused on is our lifetime guarantee with sloped roofs. So I'm always trying to represent CertainTeed and trying to get everybody just to jump on the CertainTeed bandwagon, because it just guarantees you against the workmanship issues, and it also guarantees you against product issues.
Nice. And so you mentioned you built the brand, and I know because I've seen your brand all over town. Like, what was that process like? And where did you learn to develop that? And
I think, I had a search engine optimization guy that I had hired, and he made the logo for me, and he was really, talking about branding and kind of, telling me the importance of a logo. And I was driving through traffic, and I saw a TD sign. And I heard TD on the radio, and then I think, where was it? Then I think I saw TD on my social media. And I was like, they just hit me 3 times in a row, and it kind of made me realize that you gotta, with branding, to stick in people's minds, you gotta hit them from multiple angles. So that's what we do. Lawn signs has been one of the best forms of advertisement we've done. Not so much in terms of we'll get work from it, but it's more like, hey, everybody sees them. and then they'll hear us on the radio, and then they'll see us on social media, then they'll see a vehicle drive by. And, so now we're kind of everywhere. So to put it into, to answer your other question was how big are we? I mean, this year was probably the biggest we've ever gotten. I think we had like, well, 30 something people working with us this year. So it was pretty large, the scale, but I think that it was a little bit too much for me. I think that what we want to do this next year is kind of scale her back. And, cause we're really focused on quality over quantity. So, we just got to kind of remind ourselves of that sometimes. Yeah. Particularly me, need to remind me to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that though. Yeah. Focus on quality. And yeah, I like that. So in the branding, you get the different touch points. So then you guys are sort of everywhere. So then people see you, not necessarily they're picking up the phone to call you, but they see you 10 times. And then when they need to think of a roofing, oh, I've seen that
Mhm.
around.
Makes a lasting impact. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Because when they actually look to find you, they're like, oh, yeah, I remember those guys. But social media is a big deal too, because it kind of shows, you get to show your personality. So that's what I basically let people know. They can be, essentially safe with No Payne Roofing, and they can trust, us to do it. And essentially, they can see me and how much I care about their roof and their home. They know that I'm the guy for the job to come and do it, and they find out really quickly when I come to meet them, because uh, I'm the most thorough guy in the city. Like I check everything out. I give them an honest opinion, and far more comprehensive than any other company to date. And hey, I encourage my competitors to step it up. I was actually hearing somebody saying that some of my competitors are upset because I'm creating waves in the market. Like, I mean,
Wow.
I'm changing the way people do things, because they keep losing against my bids. One of the big things is the ventilation. Nobody knows how to do it, and a lot of these company owners aren't willing to step up to the plate and actually learn how to do it. And even if they know how to do it, they don't bother to teach their guys, because they don't care, and they don't care as much as I do. So they're never going to win. It's always just going to be basically No Payne Roofing at the top until somebody else actually, like, say, in short, just cares truly for what's going on, and kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say putting profits aside, but just giving the customer the best bang for their buck.
hmm That's great. And that's good to hear. So that you're setting the bar higher for the whole industry, basically. And I'm really interested in that conversation, to dive into that, because like the focus on the podcast is the communication between the contractor and customer. So you're mentioning there that you communicate with them, you explain things to them, you teach your guys, and other roofers don't do that. So recently I heard someone say something along the lines of all roofers are pirates. And so my question is, in your experience, does the roofing industry have sort of a bad rap for, you know, roof pirates?
Mm.
And then what specifically sets you guys apart? Because clearly you're on a whole different level. And what's the journey like to get there, to set yourselves apart and to step away from sort of that
Mm.
perception that people have about roofers?
Well, put it in short, if drug testing was a requirement and it was done honestly, roofs wouldn't be getting done. So we're in an industry where most of us are outcasts, we're dropouts, we've suffered family abuse and things like that. So a lot of us are the people that kind of went under the radar and were deemed to be nobodies, and things like that. So it is a rough industry. I've seen all kinds of things totally unacceptable out there. But that being said, there's a lot of passionate guys out there too that do a really good job. To keep in mind with roofers, we work for a living. We work hard for a living. So if it's a very honest job in that sense. But the pirates, I guess, I mean, yeah, it's kind of wild west. I would say, like, never give a roofer any money up front. What we do is we take a deposit as soon as things are seen. Like, basically, so when the materials arrive, it's like, okay, now I want my 25%. When my crew arrives, then I want 25%, and then 50% when it's all done, you know? And then that way, I know I'm safe, because, whenever a homeowner hires a roofer, you're both taking a risk. The roofer's taking a risk, and it's a trust thing that's going on. But yeah, absolutely. It is true. The stigma is real, and hey, in a way it's good for us because we're changing things up.
Uh-huh. And what advice would you give? Say there's somebody in another city and they care about their customers, they want to deliver a high quality product. What can they do to set themselves apart and set the bar higher for their business?
In regards to roofing,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Say they're running roofing.
I think that the best thing you can do is get um, manufacturer certified. So one with our venting, we're with One Man Co. And then we're with CertainTeed. So CertainTeed, they have this master shingle applicator program, which basically ensures the homeowner against workmanship issues. So it's a huge deal. I mean, so it's like, okay, uh, guys screw up. Hey, it happens. It happens on my side, but you know the but it happens everywhere. Like, I mean, I'm very strict with my guys, and I do inspections, I do all these things, and still, you know, workmanship issues happen. So when you have that extra layer of protection with CertainTeed, even if I go out of business or I die or whatever, you still have a workmanship guarantee, and the workmanship issues generally don't start until you know year 5, year 10, something like that. So
Oh,
we guarantee our roofs for 50 years.
uh-huh.
Never have to buy a new roof again. So I think that if anybody wants to step up their business, it's to work with their manufacturers and find who has the best product and best warranties.
Uh-huh. Okay. And let's take that from the customer perspective. So say there's somebody and they're not in an area where your company particularly services. What should they look for when they're hiring a company so they can get a reputable roof, so they can get a warranty that's actually going to be valid?
Well, there's a few manufacturers out there that have these kind of warranties. So Owens Corning has it, Gaff has it, CertainTeed has it. So basically just check for the manufacturer that actually guarantees the workmanship. Okay. Because a good product, if you just have a product warranty, which the vast majority of roofs have in the city, or any city, they just have a product warranty. So if the roofer high nails it, or they don't space it properly, or don't overhang it, or they don't put the underlayment on right, or whatever, it takes that warranty and just brings it to a zero. It's void. So that's why you want to just put it all in the manufacturer. The manufacturer guaranteeing the workmanship and the product. Then that's what a homeowner should go for.
Uh-huh. And touching more on the customer and what the customer should look like. So say they go to two companies, somebody gives them a really low bid. They say, yeah, we can get it done. Don't worry about the warranty. You're going to sell your house. And then, they have a more reputable company come in higher. What should they look for in those quotes? What's that difference? And what's
Mm.
worth the price?
Well, first off, I always say go with the lowest quote if you're getting the same thing as the higher quote. I mean, why would you pay more for the same Ferrari or the same Corvette or whatever? So if you're going to go with the higher quote, make sure that they're offering more. So you're going to have to read a bit of the fine print. You have to get in there and see what are they specifying, what products they're using. Are they specifying how the warranty works? Were they comprehensive in their inspection beforehand? Do they make you feel comfortable in the in-person meeting? So, just because somebody has a brand and they're fancy and all that, kind of have that, the dazzling quote and everything, could be deception. It may not be, you know, there's also things like way too much detail. Like, I don't have to, when in my quote, I'm not there to teach you how to roof. I'm there to tell you what you're getting. That's, if you want to know how to do it, or then I wouldn't be there really. You just do it yourself.
Mhm.
So, but I mean, yeah, check out what they look like. Are they treating their job seriously? Do they look professional? Do they seem knowledgeable? And if that's the lower quote, then go with the lower quote, I would say.
Uh-huh. So you want to make sure you're checking apples to apples on the quotes, and then you can judge the lower one, but don't get caught by it's a lower quote, but they're missing stuff, or they don't they're not certified installers or not.
Yeah, if it's if
Yeah.
it's if it's way too vague, then there's such thing as, I think, like too detailed, and there's such thing as just way too vague. So, but yeah, for me, when I read an estimate, um, I show them the warranty, the product, which events are going on, what the brand is, you know, and then the payment terms, special details that I may have found in the inspection. But that's the way I do it, and it works. I think that's what it should be.
Can you talk more about that initial conversation you have with the customer? Sort of when you set expectations of what they're getting, what the process looks like, do you find your customers like know what they're getting and that ends up leaving them happy at the end of the process?
I think most of them, yeah. Some of them really just want to get it done. Like I mean, they give me a call. They don't care about the color. All they want to know is that it's just like that it goes on. Nobody wants green, I guess, or hot pink. They don't make those shingles, but if they were there, nobody would buy them. But a lot of people just want it. They call us because they know we got good reviews. We can get it done properly, so they just call us and get it done. But I particularly I cater to the particular picky people. That's kind of how I am. So, um, but does that answer your question?
Yeah. As part of your process, are you on the phone with the customers initially or like when you're presenting the quote?
So when somebody calls me, this is one thing I love about my industry is that I can Google Earth their roof and I can let them
Mhm.
know how much it's going to cost approximately before I arrive.
Well,
So they give me a call, ask them why they want to get it done. I get all I kind of, well, essentially what I do is I qualify them over the phone. See, are we going to be a good fit? If I get a good feeling for them, then I will arrive. But we will talk prices before I arrive, as I don't want to waste their time or mine with some kind of sticker shock kind of quote.
mhm.
'Cause we are generally the more expensive estimate of
Uh-huh.
the bunch.
Yeah. And so, like you said, you've got the reviews and people pick you over the competition. So when they get your higher quote, what are the factors that make them choose you over the competition?
Well, I think a lot of it is a lot of these people, they plan on living in their home for a long time. They care about their home. They're kind of like
Mhm.
me in that sense where it's like just a job well done just gives them a deep sense of satisfaction. I think some people respect their homes more than others, and the ones that hire me are generally see the worth. Like, yeah, I want to pay this guy, maybe a couple $1,000s more just for the fact that like I'm managing their $750,000 project. I mean,
Mhm.
so when you think about a couple $1,000s, I mean, if if you want to pick the most trustworthy person, it's not going to damage your home. It's not going to cause all kinds of issues for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, because a bad roof job, particularly when it comes to ventilation, can destroy your house. Like the ventilation is the silent killer of most homes. It's like you don't know because nobody looks in the attic,
Yeah.
and when they finally do, because there's a problem, they see it through the ceiling, and there's just mold everywhere, and all their insulation needs to be pulled out. Maybe they got walls and things that the water's just been going behind, and it just hasn't gotten through the paint yet. So it could be quite devastating. So that is why people choose me to manage their project.
Yeah. So saving a couple grand on the short term up
Mm.
front could cost them, hundreds of thousands of dollars in remediation down the
Potentially.
line potentially.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, nothing's more expensive than doing the roof twice. Yeah,
Mhm.
a lot of things I see that happen is the decking isn't very good. So there's this type of plywood that just is prone to delamination, and because ventilation is generally just a problem with most projects, most roofers are scared to tell them that, hey, this is going to double the price of your project or increase it by 50% or whatever, or they just don't know and they just roof over top of it. And then the nails start coming through the shingles. And then I have to come in there and say, sorry, you got to rip this whole roof off and we have to redo the plywood. And then it's like, it was just done. Well, sorry. I mean, that's what happens when you don't hire a guy that knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So say you're in a project and you uncover that and you find out the plywood's delaminating, whatever, there's problems. How do you communicate that to the customer? What is that
They
conversation?
already know in advance with me, so I go
Okay.
inside the attic. Yeah, so it's one of the big things that a lot of guys don't do, again, is go inside the attic. I mean, there's no surprises when you do that. So, what I usually do is I'll say, "Hey, this type of plywood is known for this. It looks okay from here." I'll get up on the roof, I'll jump around, whatever,
Mm.
but sometimes when the shingles come off it, the integrity will decrease. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, so it could look fine and then it could not be fine, but I at least let the homeowner know this is what it could cost if this is the case. And most of the time, I just tell them, hey, it looks good up here. It's great. You don't have to, no extra costs. You might have a little bit of rot around the edges, and that's about it.
Okay. So you set the expectation beforehand and
Yeah.
then so there is no sticker shock or like you said, other contractors
Mhm.
who are afraid to increase the scope and say, hey, we need to fix this.
Well, that's the thing too. Yeah, they'll be mid project, or they open it up. They're like, uh-oh, but
Mm.
they're so hard up for work or whatever, they just don't say nothing. You
Yeah.
know. I come in with a lot of tools too. Like when I come in, I have my thermal gun. I have a snake in case like there's a spot of like if it's a vaulted ceiling or something, I can drill a hole and just feed it in there and kind of look around. So yeah, I mean, there's really not a whole lot that I won't find when it comes to roofing. And of course, sometimes I screw up, but the vast majority of the time I'm pretty bang on.
Uh, Is there any area like in your field that you wish customers were more informed about in general? Like that, that people generally just aren't aware of?
I think it would be basically the fact that, like, kind of going back to what you're saying about the pirate thing, that you're getting involved with some people that are pretty questionable, and that you got to be picky about that. It's just not every roofing company's the same. If my, I mean, you got to understand who is coming to your roof to hire this company, So there's that, and then the warranty. I mean, I find a lot of people just, not a lot, but there's a good portion of people that don't respect the warranty. They don't understand the absolute importance of having a lifetime guarantee versus a limited warranty.
We know you have good reviews, you're reputable in the city, so I'm assuming you have good crews who are performing the work. How do you find those people, and what's the process like to get the qualified employees who can represent your company work?
Um, it's always whenever I bring on somebody new, it's always a work in progress. Even the most experienced guys, I have to train and tweak. It's a constant thing. I need to inspect their work. I need to come and do midpoint inspections. It doesn't matter how long they've been working with me. It's just, I think it's just a thing where sometimes people get kind of lost in the moment and things can be hard or things or whatever. So it requires midpoint inspections, endpoint inspections.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's how it is. I've had guys, my oldest workers now have been working with me since like 2016 now or something like that. So they're very good. I put a lot of work into them, but it's a lot of work, upgrading and keeping on these guys. One of the biggest problems I have is I'll come across a guy that's been roofing for 10, 15 years, and I'll be telling him, hey man, you're nailing the cap wrong. And they're like, how? What do you mean I'm nailing the cap wrong? I've been doing this wrong my entire life, and they get really upset. Some of these guys, it's like I don't care. I have to. What's funny about it is that they always say, "Okay, well, that's your way." It's like, "No, it's not my way." Like, like, open up the manual, see that's where the nails go, this is where the overhang is, this is the spacing, and they don't realize that, so many manufacturers out there have different specs. Some of them have different spacing, some of them have different kind of protocols, some of them let some things slide, other ones don't. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a constant work in progress, trying to battle complacency and all that.
Yeah, so then I imagine you're constantly updating as manufacturers come out with new specs, new products. You have to go back and make sure all of the employees are up to date and up to speed on the new processes.
Mhm. Yep, and I continually retrain my guys, so tomorrow, actually, we have a ventilation course, so we have everybody showing up to my home office there, and we're gonna all get, recertified with Wabanco.
What's your favorite type of customer or favorite type of work to do?
I'm a fan of easy. Like, I like easy projects. When they're complicated, I mean, it's a lot more headache, but, I take them all. I take all projects, big and small, If you got one blown off shingle, we'll come out there and fix it, or a little of the fascia's blown off or something, So even the most minuscule thing, you got one nail that needs to be hammered in, I'll come and do it. But, yeah, I mean, generally easy peasy gravy projects, I prefer those. And then as for customers, I prefer the particular kind of people that are detail orientated and, that's who we're more geared towards. Because I mean, some people that don't care about their homes are going to go for the low baller, drug addict, and they don't give a crap, you know.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the answer to that.
Uh-huh. And do you guys do any, so you have your podcast. Do you do any sort of like education so that, maybe there's the low baller type of customers is always going for the lowest bid. But if they knew that there's warranty, that they're like, these options are out there because they, where are they going to learn that's out there? Do you do any sort of like outreach, like education, like educational components?
Yeah, yeah, we have educational components. I probably don't put it out there as much as I should, But I think it could definitely help people. I mean, I think what people need is not everybody, but like I think that roofing is not exactly a respected industry. I mean, it's not largely an unrespected trade. People think, basically a monkey can do it and that kind of thing. And it's just like, it's just not true. Or if it was true, I wouldn't be out there. I mean, I have 3 crews full time fixing other people's stuff so that's what we do all day long.
Where do you see, like, in the future? So you guys are setting a new bar. Like, where do you see the industries moving towards?
I think it's moving towards solar, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
I think all shingles are gonna be solar pretty quick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's really cool. Like, what makes you say that?
Well, I went to a trade show earlier this year to Dallas, and thanks to Beacon, my supplier, they paid for the whole thing, sent me out there. But yeah, every single shingle manufacturer was showing their prototypes of
Wow.
these solar shingles.
Wow. So I've only seen like the Tesla, the solar signals. Is it a similar thing to that? Is there a lot of variety
We
coming
got
out?
a lot of variations.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of companies coming up, companies you haven't even heard of. It's a big competition right now, basically, to be like who's gonna come out on top with these solar shingles. But I see it as a good thing. I like it. They look a lot better than those big old panels that we have right now,
Mhm.
and it's also opening up a lot of work too. I mean, like we actually just recently started offering solar panel cleaning. So soon it's gonna be solar shingle cleaning because if you don't clean your shingles, you could lose like 20% efficiency, maybe even more.
Wow. Wow. I did not know that
Mhm.
20%.
Mhm.
So does that change sort of the scope of the business? Like, are you going to need to have electricians on staff now if you guys are in the
Mhm.
future installing the solar shingles?
Yeah, I think that basically just with a little bit of certification. I'm not totally familiar with all this yet, but from what I understand, doing the connections for the shingles is not going to require the electrician's certification, but the main hard wiring and everything is definitely going to require an electrician.
Yeah, to tie it in.
Yep.
And so when you're at the trade show, did they give any like timeline? When do you expect this to become more commonplace?
Well, in the United States right now, it's out there. They're doing it. They're working the bugs out, luckily. And then for Canada, they keep saying it's gonna be next year. So I mean, they've already put it off a couple years now. So it's hard to say exactly when it's gonna come out.
Wow. So soon. So, but
Mhm.
even if it's 2 or
Any
3
minute.
years, that's that's pretty soon.
Mhm.
Huh, cool. And on that topic, I've heard of, the solar panel installer companies will come in and they're just out there to sell panels, and they'll put them in over roofs that need to be redone.
Mhm.
Can you talk about that a little bit? What that looks like?
Yeah. I think most solar companies. I mean, I don't know about this, but I mean, the ones I get involved with, generally, even if the roof is only 5 years old, are telling people to just replace the roof with the solar panels. But I have heard some weird things from some solar companies where I basically tell the homeowner don't hire those guys because they say, oh yeah, it'll never leak under the solar panels. You just have to just replace the shingles around them when the time is due. It's like that's not how it works. Yeah. So solar panel is guaranteed to last at least 25 years. So shingles are typically a 30-year limited lifetime product. So yeah, I mean, if your shingles are 10 years old, you don't, I mean, they're saying like the average cost is like something like $15,000 to take the panels off and put them back on again.
Wow.
Yeah. So you really, it's about the cost of a roof to do that. So yeah, you don't want to be stuck with that. So that's why I say again, go with a lifetime guaranteed product. Definitely go with a better product when you're getting solar panels on. But most solar companies are pretty aware and they're ethical in that sense.
Oh, that's good to hear. That
Mhm.
most of them are doing it right. Yeah, and you're not saving any money by not replacing the roof if it's going to cost that much to just to replace it.
Well, there goes all your electrical saving. But I mean, that's another thing too. People don't realize they think that, oh, I can just put solar panels on and it's going to pay for itself in this much time. Well, maybe. I mean, if inflation's real bad, but yeah, I mean, it's essentially, yeah, you have to replace the roof, and you got to factor that into your energy savings as well.
Okay.
So I think that a person should be getting the solar panels if their roof needs to be replaced. If it doesn't need to be replaced, then it's like I don't see the cost benefit.
Right, right. Then yeah, just wait until it's time to replace the roof, then add the panels.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Okay, cool. Yeah. Any other questions? Anything else? Any other topics you want to cover?
Any other topics? Well, I can say that we offer other services as well. Our slogan is exterior renovations made painless. So we also do siding and eaves troughs and soffits. We have a large network of people that can be accessed through us. I know window installers and electricians and home inspectors and real estate agents and home builders and now a custom builder like yourself. Now you're not a custom builder though, you're a custom finisher.
Yeah, just finished carpentry.
Finished carpentry. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, now I got another guy in my network. So that's good to know there, Nick. But yeah, I think that's all I got for today.
Awesome. And can you just let people know where they can find you, contact info?
Yeah, anybody can contact me right on my cell directly, 587-227-0517. Also on my website, which is nopayneroofing.ca. It's spelled Payne.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. That was a great conversation. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining us for this great episode of Constructive Conversations. We appreciate you taking the time to listen and hope that was helpful, whether you're a contractor or a customer. We hope you're better equipped to have the right conversations so that everybody in the industry can have a better experience. Make sure you subscribe, follow the podcast, and catch the next one. We're releasing podcasts every week with experts in the industry, as well as customers to share their experience in construction and how we can elevate the industry by having better, more constructive conversations. I'm your host, Nick Svikauskas, owner of Calgary Custom Concepts, a Finnish carpentry company based in Calgary, specializing in high-end interior trim carpentry details.